We are kicking off with CM Punk, who made his return to TV last week by being revealed as the OG Bloodline's 5th member, a moment that stunned fans ahead of this weekend's Wargames match. Punk's involvement was so shocking that some fans have questioned if this was the original plan, as many had predicted that Seth Rollins would eventually come around and join. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Punk being the 5th member was always the plan, and added that there's not been any negative issues with Punk since his return to WWE. Sapp described Punk as a model citizen in WWE who's been quite helpful on and off screen, but could we be in store for a major betrayal at Survivor Series? This week, WWE released 2 new Paul Heyman shirts, one featuring Punk and the other featuring Roman Reigns, but fans noticed a key difference between the two. Only on the Punk-themed shirt is Heyman described as the Wise Man, a moniker he's used with Reigns, which some have seen as a sign Heyman is set to betray Roman and side with Punk. As we mentioned in our video of SmackDown, there were some moments from the show that could be seen as teases of a betrayal, adding a new layer of intrigue to this weekend's show. Heyman, who also made his return to TV on SmackDown, brought Punk in as the 5th member without consulting Roman Reigns, and the two wrestlers have had their issues in the past. During Punk's AEW run, he was highly critical of WWE, while Reigns told BT Sport at the time that Punk was simply never as good as John Cena or as over as The Rock. In a new interview with Sports Illustrated, Roman opened up about Punk's inclusion in Wargames and how the decision to bring him in was not his. He said, "I'm very blessed and very fortunate and grateful to be able to share the ring and have all our family in there together. It's pretty neat. And then, to add some of the personalities that we have added. CM Punk, Sami Zayn, even Paul. These are outside figures who are working in some way closer than others. I look at Paul like chosen family. Sammy's one of those guys that just slowly but surely endeared himself in. And then Punk is like this crazy, how did this even happen? Who are you here with? What I mean, like, checking the guest list, hold on, how did you get in here?" During the interview, Reigns also confirmed his role for Raw's premiere on Netflix in January, but said that after the show, his exact dates from the Royal Rumble onwards have not been confirmed. Reigns will be on TV this Friday when he and CM Punk come face to face, and the question now is whether Punk and Reigns can trust each other in their war with Solo Sikoa's bloodline. But what do you make of Punk's involvement in this angle? Will he and Reigns be able to coexist this Saturday in Vancouver? Share your thoughts on all this in the comments section. Over to AEW, and Adam Copeland has been officially cleared for physicality following months of recovery from a tibia fracture. The injury, sustained during a brutal barbed wire steel cage match against Malachi Black or Double or Nothing this past May, sidelined Copeland during the peak of his AEW run. While fans are eager to see the Rated R superstar return to action, they'll need to wait a bit longer. According to PW Insider Elite, though Copeland is medically cleared for in-ring competition, his full-time return is on pause as he wraps filming for the 2nd season of Disney's Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. Hollywood sources suggest production is set to conclude in January. Copeland's injury, a fractured lower tibia that required surgery and a metal plate, was a significant setback. Just days after the injury, AEW stripped him of the TNT Championship, prematurely ending his impressive 70-day reign. What's your take on Adam Copeland's journey in AEW so far? Are you counting down the days to his return? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. In February 2025, AEW will host its first event in Australia with its Grand Slam show, and there's plenty of intrigue as to what matches will happen down under. As one of AEW's top names, fans can expect to see Darby Allin compete in Australia next year, and the former TNT champion knows exactly who he wants. Speaking to Wrestle Radio Australia, Allin made it clear that he wants to face somebody from the Death Riders and won't be picky as to which member of the faction it is. Speaking about Jon Moxley's faction, which has waged war against AEW, Allin said he has a feeling that this angle is just getting started and expects the group to be trouble for some time. Allin has already found himself at odds with the group as we saw at Full Gear, and which member of the group do you want to see Allin face at Grand Slam Australia? Let us know below. After a 6-month hiatus from AEW, Ricky Starks made a thunderous return to the spotlight at GCW's Dream On event, captivating fans with a passionate promo that addressed his status with All Elite Wrestling and his aspirations in the industry. Starks, a former AEW World Tag Team Champion, was last seen on AEW programming in April, where he and Big Bill suffered a tough loss to Top Flight. After that defeat, Starks faded from the public eye, making only a single in-ring appearance against QT Marshall in May. His prolonged absence left fans buzzing with speculation, eagerly awaiting answers, and now they finally have them. Over the weekend, the charismatic AEW star sent shockwaves through the wrestling world by stepping into the GCW stage and pulling no punches about his AEW experience. Taking the microphone, Starks delivered an electrifying message. "One thing about me, passion runs through my blood, and I'll be damned if I sit at home and get frozen out. I'll be damned if I sit at home and let my career dwindle. I'm 34 years old, I'm healthy, I'm goddamn good looking, and most importantly, I'm a generational superstar." However, Starks' bold appearance quickly turned controversial. Reports surfaced that AEW had pulled him from all future GCW bookings after remarks made by Effie, another wrestler, allegedly targeting AEW owner Tony Khan's father Shad Khan. According to Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp, AEW made the call internally on November 26th and immediately informed Starks of the decision. While the specifics of Effie's comments remain undisclosed, the fallout has thrown Starks' GCW plans into disarray. The development comes at an intriguing time, as AEW had earlier exercised an option to extend Starks' contract through 2025, signaling confidence in his long-term value. Behind the scenes, there was chatter about turning Starks' GCW appearances into a storyline for AEW. However, insiders have confirmed that this situation stems from real-life controversy rather than crafted wrestling drama. As it stands, Starks' GCW involvement and his standing with AEW remains uncertain. The future for Ricky Starks is up in the air, but one thing is clear: fans are on the edge of their seats to see how this story develops. Stay tuned to Slat Rock Wrestling for the latest updates on Starks' status as more details emerge. How do you feel about AEW's decision to pull Starks from GCW? Should AEW give its stars more freedom to take indie bookings, or was this the right call? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. In an Iron Survivor Challenge qualifier, Ethan Page battled against Axiom's offense and caught the tag champion on the top rope for an ego's edge to win. Post-match, Nathan Frazer interrupted Page's impromptu interview, followed by Wes Lee and Javon Evans, who all claimed victory in the Iron Survivor Challenge. As for the match, Page and Axiom are two of NXT's best wrestlers, and it showed in their first ever match with a consistently smooth bout that saw both men look main roster ready. Page didn't need this win, but it confirms that he's still a main event talent, even if Trick Williams and the NXT Championship are out of the picture for the time being. The field for the Iron Survivor Challenge is interesting so far, but heavily favors Lee as the fresh, talented heel still waiting for an opportunity at the NXT Championship. With Fraxium out there, the NXT Tag Division funneled out to remind the champions that everyone wanted a title shot, and it wasn't long before another brawl started. This brawl continued into the parking lot, with officials intervening after a car was destroyed and multiple people thrown through windows. Ava announced a #1 contender battle royal for next week, but that didn't stop the brawl in what may have been a taste of what fans can expect on next week's show. During this brawl, Ava took an inadvertent shot when Eddie Thorpe tried to talk to her again, and Shawn Michaels threatened Thorpe and ordered him to leave. In the locker room, Wren Sinclair questioned why Lola Vice was obsessed with Jaida Parker, which didn't sit well with Vice, setting up a match between the two. Sinclair said it wasn't wise for Lola to cost Jaida another match after she smashed a brick over her head a few weeks ago, and said that Lola should have taken the loss. Ashanti the Adonis then admitted that he texted Nikita Lyons, arguing that he texts everyone, though this hardly sat well with Karmen Petrovic. Nikita wanted reassurance from Ashanti that he was still interested in her, while Karmen is seemingly done with Ashanti because she's not going to deal with his games. Back in the ring, Wren Sinclair targeted and attacked the left arm of Lola Vice when they collided, but it was just one spinning back fist by Vice that scored her the win. These two have impressed in NXT, but this was neither woman's best match, and Sinclair in particular maintained control for a long time, but did not execute her offense well. Instead, she relied on a series of listless maneuvers to target Vice's arm over her usual moves, and this would have been better had Vice simply dominated rather than escape with a win. Afterward, Vice challenged Parker to an NXT Underground match, and while Vice needed the win this week, she hardly looks like a dangerous force going into NXT Underground. With the NXT North American title on the line, Shawn Spears entered with his chair and a unique red mask, and also had Brooks Jensen with him. The chairman immediately targeted Tony D'Angelo's injured left knee, but the Don fought back and was able to pick up the victory with a spinebuster to retain the gold. Afterwards, Spears, Jensen, and a third man, Nico Vance, laid out D'Angelo, while Adriana Rizzo could only look on helpless to assist. This wasn't the most exciting match of either man, though props to D'Angelo, who did a great job selling his knee was becoming a bigger issue as the match went longer. With that said, Spears never seemed in any hurry, and with a flat pace, the finish came out of nowhere, with the chairman never coming across as a threat to D'Angelo's title reign. Perhaps the two were holding back for a rematch on a bigger stage, but the expectations for this rivalry are low based on what we've seen so far. Andre Chase was seen packing up his stuff in a box and walked away from the university when a mystery figure called out to the bereft educator. It's unclear who this is or what exactly they want with Chase, but it's good that Chase will have something to do now that Chase U is a thing of the past. Kalani Jordan brought the fight to Giulia in their Iron Survivor Challenge, but it was the Beautiful Madness's experience that paid off as a Northern Lights bomb scored her the win. With Roxanne Perez watching closely backstage, the two wrestled like a main event struggle, with things getting scrappier than what we've seen so far from Kalani Jordan. It's great to see Lani show a different side to her work, as it proves her resourcefulness on the roster, and in fact, there were stretches during which Jordan leaned to being the heel. A glare after the match to Giulia certainly seemed unbecoming of a babyface, which could be a tease of a test for the former champion in a new role, or it could also go nowhere. Jordan is the most likely woman to win the last chance qualifier for the Iron Survivor Challenge, but failing to do so after failing to regain her title could see her turn on NXT's newcomers. As for Giulia, she remains one of the best signings in NXT and should be a favorite to win at Deadline, though this match will be full with competitive options to face Roxanne Perez. Giulia joins Zarya, Stephanie Vaquer, and Sol Ruca in the match at Deadline, with the fifth members of the men's and women's matches to be decided in Fatal 4-Ways next week. That was confirmed by Ava in a backstage segment. And who do you want to see win at Deadline? Give your picks in the comments section down below. The stage continued to be set for Deadline, but that show will go ahead without Chase U, who were forced to disband after Ridge Holland bested Andre Chase last week. Chase U's music struck to kick off this week's NXT, but it was Holland who ran through the banner instead, earning a ton of heat from the fans eager to see the college-themed stable. Holland earned even more heat as he delivered his "I Told You So" promo and hyped up his NXT title match with Trick Williams at Deadline in a short, sweet segment that ended with a mic drop. It was Holland's win last week that ended Chase U that also saw him become #1 contender, and later in the show, he and Trick Williams had a war of words. Williams said that Holland winning the title would spell the end of NXT, and Ridge said that Trick is right, but he didn't care about that, or the fact that controversy follows wherever he goes. This was seemingly a nod to Holland's involvement in Big E's neck injury, but the mention of controversy resulted in Eric Bischoff appearing via satellite on the Titantron. Bischoff said he wanted to get a closer look at the pair and will do just that next week, confirming the Hall of Famer's first appearance for WWE since May of last year. Next Tuesday won't be Bischoff's only involvement in wrestling in December, as he'll also take creative control at an MLW event next Thursday. Bischoff will donate his paycheck for the event to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to the military and first responders who gave their lives during 9/11. As for his NXT role, this was an odd escalation tactic for Holland versus Williams after NXT already sacrificed Chase U to get Ridge over. Just days after that monumental action, and we have Bischoff as the centerpiece of this feud, who has no clear reason to be involved other than the mention of controversy. Perhaps this situation will make more sense when things go down next week, but the question is whether Bischoff will add more stakes to this title match or simply be a distraction from the story. It could go either way, and it's certainly a greater gamble by the Silver brand rather than just letting the champion and his challenger tell their story over the next week. On Twitter, X-Pac also promised to be at the Performance Center next week for NXT, as the show will be laden with Hall of Famers who could do big things with the young crop of talent. Backstage, Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix mocked Tatum Paxley, claiming that she'd never be a champion, to add another layer to the night's title match. In the chaos, a mystery woman picked up one of Paxley's dolls, and it wasn't long before fans got to find out who this mysterious individual turned out to be. In Women's North American Championship action, Fallon Henley defended against Paxley, who dominated early until Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix distracted the challenger. Paxley got close, but a low famouser sealed the win for Henley, and post-match Fatal Influence would beat down on Paxley before Gigi Dolan made her return, saving Paxley, and cleared the ring. Though Jane and Nyx gave a distraction, they kept interference to a minimum, which allowed for this match to shine on a night of strong action. Henley and Paxley showed great chemistry, which allowed the challenger to look dangerous, and down the stretch, there were brief flickers of a potential major upset. That wasn't meant to be on this night though, but pairing a returning Dolan with Paxley is a smart move that should see both elevate one another, and could be what it takes for Tatum to win gold. It certainly helps that Dolan and Jane have a history this angle can lean into, even if the pair always made for better partners than opponents in the ring. CM Punk isn't shying away from sharing the buzz surrounding his monumental WWE return at Survivor Series 2023. The Second City Saint recently took to Instagram to reveal a private text from none other than WWE icon Steve Austin, who had high praise for Punk's unforgettable comeback. Punk posted a screenshot of Austin's message which read, "Goddamn, that was an F monster pop. Maybe the loudest I've ever heard. Awesome." The text captured the thunderous ovation Punk received as he made his first WWE appearance in over a decade, a moment that has already gone down as one of the most electric crowd reactions in wrestling history. But the camaraderie didn't stop there. Earlier, Punk shared a playful post featuring a photo of Austin on a WWE production truck, hinting at their mutual respect and friendly banter. Austin's message, however, took things to another level, cementing the significance of Punk's return not just for fans, but for the wrestling industry as a whole. Now, with this year's Survivor Series just around the corner, Punk is set to join forces with Roman Reigns in a high-stakes Wargames match against Solo Sikoa and his team. With expectations sky high, fans are eager to see if Punk can deliver yet another show-stealing moment. What's your take on Steve Austin's reaction to Punk's return? Has Punk lived up to the hype so far, or is the best still to come? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. WWE Executive Director Bruce Pritchard is set to remain on extended leave from the company, with reports indicating he won't return until early 2025. The update, shared by Brian Alvarez in the latest Wrestling Observer Daily Update, confirms that Pritchard's ongoing absence stems from personal and family health matters. Pritchard's hiatus has sparked speculation among fans, but his Something to Wrestle podcast co-host Conrad Thompson recently addressed the situation to set the record straight. Thompson assured listeners that Pritchard remains employed by WWE and debunked any rumors of behind-the-scenes drama. "Nothing salacious is going on," Thompson explained. "He's simply taking time to focus on personal and family health issues." In contrast, another key backstage figure, Michael P.S. Hayes, has made his return after his own recent leave of absence. Hayes was reportedly back at last week's Double SmackDown taping, where he played a role in producing the highly anticipated Bloodline segments, which featured the much-talked-about returns of Paul Heyman and CM Punk. TNA news now, and fans can expect to see more of Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li in WWE, as the Chinese star has signed a contract with the company. In a statement issued by TNA, Lee spoke of wanting to face Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace, and are you excited to see more of Lee in TNA? Let us know below. And we're ending with the Young Bucks, who have been working from home, but in a video shared by New Japan this week, the Jackson brothers shared their plans to get back in the ring. After telling someone on the phone to cry me a river, the pair shared that they plan on competing at Wrestle Dynasty and have their eyes on the IWGP Tag Team titles. The pair are former champions and held the gold for 113 days from June to September 2018, and now Matthew and Nicholas plan on holding IWGP gold again very soon.